Happy Wednesday, Hootie and the Blowfish. It's your girl Keisha, aka Color Me Pynk, and I am here with this week's All Tea All Shade Real Housewives of New Jersey Season 13 Reunion Part 2. Oh, I got some behind the scenes tea for you guys before we begin. So shout out to Giorgio Says, who spilled this little bit of tea about Danielle yesterday before the reunion aired. Now, I don't know if y'all know, but Danielle and Caroline Manzo are related through marriage, okay? Listen up and listen closely.
Danielle, you better call Caroline Manzo back. She is your aunt. It's actually her step aunt, but nonetheless, Caroline kind of had a hand in Danielle getting cast on Real Housewives of New Jersey, and she said that the last time she spoke to her was when she was cast, but then once she was introduced to Teresa, well, let's take a listen to what she had to say.
Have you heard from her? Has she checked in with you since she's started this journey?
No, interestingly enough, the last time I heard from her was when she was cast. And of course I had spoken to, Andy prior, during, and all that kind of stuff, and about her. And she was cast, and then I think they introduced her to Teresa, and she hit it off with Teresa, and that's the last time I heard from her.
Do you think that Teresa's the reason why Danielle didn't call Caroline back?
What have I been telling y'all? What have I been telling y'all? Since maybe about episode 5 of this season, I clocked Danielle for who she was, and I told y'all that girl's an opportunist, and she's coming on her for blood, and she is coming for that crown, and she gonna get it however she can. She gonna use whoever she can to get to where she wants to be. I've been telling y'all gonna listen to me. I know some shady hoes. I know a shady hoe when I see one, okay? Now let's get into this reunion, child, because reunion part 2 was just filled with shit, okay? So Teresa, after Andy asks her, do you really think that Melissa and Joe called the feds on you? She changed it to they were hanging out with Joe's old business partner. And Melissa like, what are you talking about? I've never even met this man. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, this lady is just so crazy and delusional and just says whatever that comes to her little pea brain. And it's like, you cannot go around making accusations like that. Like, that's crazy talk. And like I said, and she even said it herself, that if it did happen, Joe wasn't trying to do it to her, but to her ex. And I said that last week. Didn't I say that last week? Go back and look at my video last week. I said if Joe did call the feds, it was because he was trying to get at Joe, and Teresa ended up just being collateral damage. I don't think that he knew that she had anything to do with it, if in fact that did happen. So Teresa was like, after this comes out, Jacqueline's going to come out and say it. And Melissa then proceeds to read a text message that Jacqueline sent to Jackie back in 2021. And apparently there's even more than this as far as text messages go, because I listened to Two T's in a Pod. That's Tamra from OC and Teddy, formerly from Beverly Hills. They have a podcast together. And on this week's episode, Tamra was saying how she has multiple screenshots of this text thread conversation between Jacqueline and Jackie. So Jacqueline said to Jackie in this text message, I know I shouldn't care, but her arrogance voice and the fact that she gets away with too much after being a nasty a-hole bothers me. She is a low-life trash bucket. She's stupid, but also very calculating. Even with her two facelifts, eye lifts, no job, shaved forehead, Botox fillers, and new boobs, she is still so ugly and thinks she is a goddess. LOL. No, I'm not bitter at all. LOL. Every time I see something on her, it irritates me all over again. Obviously, LOL. She's infamous for being a dumb, classless train wreck. She doesn't get it. And then the next year, y'all buddied up in Vegas and you're spilling all the tea. Girl, Jacqueline, please just stay hidden in the cave wherever you been taking care of your family, because you messy too. You real messy. So can't nobody believe nothing that come out your mouth as well. And Teresa is a fool to believe anything that come out your mouth. I don't even know if she really believes Jacqueline. I think that she just hates Melissa and Joe so much that she's going to ride with anything anybody tells her at this point, which is ridiculous. Teresa was sitting up there, you know, trying to act like she was unfazed, but you know that bothered her. So, Teresa was like, Jacqueline's gonna come after you. And then Dolores surprisingly says really low, this is bad for you, Melissa. You're going down. Talking about Jacqueline's gonna come for Melissa. It ain't no worse than everything else that Teresa has done. And I was once again stunned by Dolores. Like, cause it's like you speak up when it's unnecessary with look crap like that. And then when it's time for you to speak up, you don't. Dolores can go. I don't like Dolores anymore because she try to act like she's so and she's really like she is such a disappointment. Like she never really stands up to Teresa. She just sits back and watches her spew nonsense and just sit back, and it's written all over her face that she thinking in her head, this girl is a maniac. She's crazy. She's insane. She's dumb. She's stupid. She don't know how to talk. But I'm going to sit here and be quiet because I don't want her to come after me. Bye, Dolores. Bye. Get off my screen, please. So we find out that Rachel has finished adopting Jaden. God bless them. And Andy says that his birth mother said that John is preventing her from speaking to or seeing Jaden. And she says that Jaden doesn't want to see her, period. So Rachel says, I think one of my castmates can provide more information because allegedly she was contacted because of Louie. He has someone track her down. Teresa, of course, huh? What? I've never heard of that. So Rachel says it makes sense because he was screaming all season about how he has a private investigator. And I don't see Rachel Fuda being a liar. I really don't. I really honestly don't. She didn't even really have anything to do with this whole Louie, Teresa, Joe, Melissa situation. I don't think that she would lie about issues that are going on with her family. And then especially when we saw her husband later on and we saw how upset he was, they didn't get involved in none of that throughout the season. So I 100% believe Rachel and that Louie did that because he's a scumbag. So Margaret agrees. And Teresa was like, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? And Margaret was like, I would never hire a PI. And Teresa's like, yeah, because you don't have the money to. Like, she be trying to clap back so hard that she don't even be realizing, like, you low-key incriminating yourself by saying the stupid crap that come out of your mouth. So Melissa was like, so he had the money to hire people to hurt us. Great effing catch that you got there. And Teresa was like, you started all of this, Marge. You started this last season. And Melissa was like, but you apologized to her saying she did nothing wrong in the beginning of this season. Did you forget about that? See, she be just running off at the mouth. She be forgetting stuff. And so Teresa was like, well, I apologize for throwing stuff at her. That's what I apologized for. Melissa was like, your first scene with her was fake as F. Your storyline was to be namaste, 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 your asshole. Baby, when I tell you, Melissa came hot and ready like a hot pocket, baby. She was not letting up off of Teresa's neck this whole reunion. I was so proud of Melissa because you can tell she gives no F. She came with receipts and facts. Everything that Teresa said, she had an actual factual rebuttal for that shut Teresa down. Like, because all Teresa do is yell and lie. Yell and lie. And it's like, it's old. We're 13 seasons into your lying and just over exaggerating stuff and denying things. And she's just, please do not bring her back next season. Let her go on and sell off into her bubble in the sky. So Jackie and Jen Fessler join. And Jen Fessler says that she got a facelift, a nose job, and she has weight loss. She really does look good. Jackie says, it was hard for her to come back as a friend of the show, especially since she was really in the throes of her eating disorder and trying to figure that whole thing out. So I know that had to be really tough for her, but we honestly didn't get much couch time with them two because Melissa and Teresa just kept on arguing. And I'm not going to even lie, it was getting on my nerves after a while. I wish we could have had more conversation with those two. I think out of those two, Jen Fessler will be back. I don't think Jackie will be back as a friend. I think everybody will be back next season except for Jackie and either Teresa or Melissa, or they're both going to come back and they're going to figure out a way to film separately and just only see each other 1 or 2 times in a season. I don't know, but I honestly feel like it's time for Teresa to go. My wish would be for Teresa and Jackie to go. Although I like Jackie, she really didn't bring much this season. So Jennifer says that she reached out to Laura because last season was airing and she was mad. So last season was airing with the whole thing with Margaret, exposing Bill being a cheater. She was mad in her feelings and decided to contact her ex-bestie. You mad at everybody except for the person you need to be mad at. Once again, okay, little Teresa. Like, what? So Andy was like, you had already told Melissa the rumor you heard from Laura. And Jennifer says yes. And Danielle is shocked. And I'm like, Danielle, where were you at this whole season, love? Did you really think they liked you and cared about you? Did you really honestly think that you were in the fold? See, this is when I remember I told y'all she going all about Eve, Teresa. But she ain't all the way. She a little slow. She a little touched by an angel herself. So she came in thinking she was playing the game, but the master still sunned the sensei. You see what I'm saying? So she thinking that she having her moment by exposing this to Melissa at the reunion. Like this is her moment to be messy and reveal a big secret, not knowing that she being played this whole entire time. So she's sitting there stewing, doing all of this. She hot. So Teresa's like, well, I had nothing to do with it. Girl, you the one that set everything up. So Andy was like, so why did you bring it up on camera to Danielle like it was a big secret? And Jennifer was like, well, because that was the narrative that was playing out. It wasn't no narrative. You made it a narrative. You are the one that brought it up, you and Teresa. And Teresa just sat back and let you take the lead and act like I ain't got nothing to do with it or whatever. I'm not saying anything. And you're willing to do Teresa's dirty work. So you were willing to be the face of the whole thing. Girl, get out of here. So Andy was like, well, Danielle, how do you react now knowing Jen had already told her? And Danielle was like, I didn't know that. And Andy was like, do you feel set up? And she was like, no, I don't. And I'm like, you idiot. This was your moment. This was your moment to have that epic reunion moment that would have changed whatever viewer out there that wasn't feeling you mind. You could have had the ultimate victim moment like Portia had in the infamous, season 9 reunion with the whole Phaedra situation. Even though we know she had her finger in the pot. But I didn't know that. You told me that you said that she said that, Phaedra. You told me that she said that. You just said it earlier. You could have had that moment. Y'all set me up. Y'all made me believe this girl didn't even know that. I can't believe that I trusted you and I was going against Marge and them. You could have had a moment. You could have had your moment where you turned on them and been like, I can't believe you would do this to me. I really thought you guys were my friend. I feel totally bamboo. Oh my God, I can't take this. I can't believe this. You could have walked off, say, girl, this could have been your moment. You could have got so much press off of this. You could have went into next season being the golden girl, but you squandered the moment because you were too pussy to go up against them. Too pussy. You're stupid, Danielle. You're stupid. You still got some stuff to learn. So Rachel was like, you were manipulated. And Danielle was like, did you guys set me up? And of course, Jen was like, I'm sorry if it came across that way. So Danielle was like, I just choose to believe I'm nobody's pawn. I just choose to believe that. So Andy was like, I think you might walk away from this having an opinion about it. And Danielle just sitting there dumb. Just sit there dumb because once again, she squandered an opportunity. And one thing that I would say about Andy for this reunion is that he's really giving it to the girls and calling them out and asking him the questions that need to be answered. And he going hard. This is the Andy that I need to see show up at all of the reunions. This is the Andy. I know a lot of people was mad because they felt like he was being rude to to Teresa and Jennifer. No, he's holding people accountable. And when you say stupid stuff, he's calling you out for stupid stuff. So backstage, the men are separated for the first time. So you got Louie, Danielle husband, Bill, and Nate all in one room. Then in the other room, you got the two Joes, Frank and John Fuda in the room together. So Joe Gorga points out that things have never been like this bad at this point. And I don't think that he was talking about with the women. I think he was talking about with the guys. And Frank was like, there has been such angry arguments and it has never gotten to the point it's gotten to now. And the only difference is Louie. And I think that's what they were referring to, the guys dynamic. So Teresa denies trying to destroy Melissa and Joe's marriage. Like, girl, you didn't try like 50 million times. Like, just stand in it at this point. I don't like you. I want my brother to be married to somebody else, period. So Melissa was like, don't swear on your children. It's weak. Because, I swear on my kids. I swear on my kids, Andy. Andy at this point is getting sick of them because they just keep on going back and forth and will not listen to him when he's asking them to be quiet. So he's annoyed. So Teresa's like, I can't wait to never look at your face again after today. And Andy said, okay, let me know how that goes. I'm like, you better get her because I want to know when she became the CEO president of Bravo. When did you become an executive producer? Like, she really think that this is her show. Like, Teresa has gotten delusional to the point like Vicky did, like Nene did, where she really think that she runs something and that they won't fire her. And you can tell Andy was sitting there looking like, be careful what you're saying, little girl. Be careful what you're saying because you think you me and you not me. $5 fine your ass. So Frank backstage was like, I would never chime in or jump in on a bandwagon, but the fact that he effed me over this year for no reason and I did nothing but try to help him. And Joe was like, Margaret's Joe was like, well, how about how he effed Lil Frankie? We then see a flashback that was unseen footage of this season where Frank is telling Joe Gorga how Louie closed down his company and didn't even reach out to Lil Frankie and say that the company was closing. He's being laid off. Lil Frankie is calling him, trying to find out what's going on. He wouldn't even return the boy phone calls. Now, one thing you could say about Frank is that Frank ain't never got involved in this whole mess. So he not lying. Like, everybody's not lying on this man. Louie is a sociopath and he's crazy. And the fact that he would do that to his wife's best friend's, and I say that loosely, son, says a lot about him and says a lot about how Teresa really feel about Dolores. Because if she really messed with Dolores like that, he wouldn't even think to try no crap like that. And the fact that Teresa knows that he did this, didn't check him. Dolores, you hold on to a friendship. Y'all ain't been friends since y'all was younger. Teresa don't care about you. She's proven that when she didn't even invite you to her engagement party, didn't even have you in her wedding until her real true best friend that she really cared about at the time, Dina, backed out. You're collateral damage to her, love. And the fact that you continue to scapegoat for her and protect her and stay silent, you're an idiot, bro. An idiot. Because, okay, I'll play with you about stuff on this show, but then when it involves my kid, ain't no protecting you no more. So Dolores, I just want to flick her on her forehead. So the cup reader segment comes up. Jen points out that the lady that was the cup reader was No-No's nurse, and that the lady was saying that Melissa never came to see him. And Melissa's like, okay, here we go with that. But when Andy brings up what the cup lady said about her marriage, oh, Jennifer wanted to skip past that. And then she sit up here telling me, so I'm so happy in my marriage. Things are so much better. Like, I would never think of leaving. I love my family. Girl, y'all relationship is still the same way. Still the same way. Talking about when you go back there in the shed with him. Girl, that man don't want to be bothered. You let that man cheat in peace and just be the miserable wife that you are. So Andy then questions why Jen brought up Melissa's alleged affair when she didn't like it when it was done to her. And for some reason, she's still trying to act like Melissa, like she hadn't told Melissa, like, oh God, Jesus. So Andy asks Marge why she's been taking shots at Teresa and vice versa on the after show. And we then go backstage to Frank and both of the Joes and John discussing Louie having a PI and how sick it is. Like, that's crazy. Like, the fact that he's going that far to get dirt on folks, which should be in a contract that you can't go around doing stuff like that. Back on stage, Marge says, well, things have transpired since then. My child was called and threatened at work by Louie, and we have the phone records. She shows Andy the screenshots or whatever. Andy looks at it, shows Teresa the paper, and was like, is this Louie number? So reminiscent of Potomac. And yes, his number. But he didn't do it. He ain't do it, though. She brings up this spoofing thing. Now, mind you, she literally grabs her phone and gets to talking about how the housewives are being spoofed or whatever, or they're receiving phone calls on their cell phones from other housewives, but it's really not them. And when they answer the phone, nobody's saying anything on the other end. Now, mind you, she's texting while she's doing it. She wasn't scrolling like looking for a screenshot. She was texting. I'm looking dead at Teresa while she's doing it. Marge is talking about, this is what happened. Louie called my son's job. This is a landline. This is not a cell phone. There was an actual voice talking to him. My son looked at the number and was like, Louie, I know that it's you. And that's when he hung up. Teresa then says, look, Andy, I just received 2 phone calls from Marge while we were sitting here. Girl, because you just text your nigga backstage and told him to text you from this spoof account. Hell, I'm starting to think that he the one going around spoofing everybody. Like, Teresa, you act like we don't have eyes. We saw you texting, girl. Get out of here with your foolishness. So Andy points out that everyone, has been being spoofed, but nobody has been saying anything. Listen to Two Peas in a podcast with Teddy and Tamara. They talk about it too, and even they point out that Teresa was lying. So Teresa then shows that she received 2 phone calls, like I said, from Marge. They go back and forth. Andy is super annoyed, calling them childish and that they need to grow up. They then take a break. Backstage, Danielle trying to whisper while she's still mic'd up and telling her husband that they set her up. Girl, don't go backstage trying to tell on them to your husband. You should have been trying to tell on them on the stage. And once again, you missed an opportunity. Your dumb butt should have went back. It was like, you know what, Andy, you were right. I had enough time to sit back and think about what just transpired. I think I was more so in shock in the beginning. You still could have made a moment out of this, you dingbat. So, Andy then tells Louie, like, he's afraid that something might go down. It's just him. He gonna end up being clocked in the forehead if they fight. Like, please don't get up out your chair. He was like, oh, I'm not. And then he tells Joe the same thing to stay in his seat. At this point, like I said, if you want to bang at a housewife reunion, you can get it, because Andy just said it's only him. Ain't no security. Child. That's why I said on my Vanderpump Rules reunion video that Ariana should have clocked Tom Sandoval and Ariana and Schwartz all at the same time. Just went past and slapped all of them. Baby, reunion part 2 was good. I didn't like all the back and forth between Melissa and Teresa. At some point, it did get annoying when Andy couldn't speak. But I loved how Melissa is clocked in, ready to go, checking Teresa at every turn, coming with receipts and facts, shutting her down, reading her for filth. Marge as her backup because Dolores ain't gonna do nothing. And I just love that they really are running this reunion. Jennifer and Teresa look stupid. Everything that's coming out their mouth is dumb, doesn't make sense at all. They're losing. And I can't wait for next week when the guys get involved. And it's really, truly disgusting to me that Dolores is going to sit up there and try to protect Louie and Teresa when it comes to how Louie effed over her son. Girl, goodbye. Throw the whole woman away. I've lost all respect for Dolores at this point. Overall, I'm going to give Reunion Part 2 an A. It was great. I love you guys. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about the Reunion Part 2 down below in the comment section. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell button. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.